Have you ever seen lights moving among the graves and followed them? When I was a teenager, we lived near an old cemetery built in the 1800s with crumbling headstones and overgrown grass. Everyone said it was haunted, but no one had ever seen anything, except for the lights. They appeared on foggy nights, tiny green orbs floating, moving slowly between the graves. Some said they were fireflies, but fireflies don't glow green, and they don't move in straight lines. Everyone called them the lanterns. The only person who ever talked about them seriously was Old Man Hendricks, a retired fisherman. Every year at the fall festival, he'd tell about the time the lanterns led him to his lost keys. People laughed and called him crazy. My friends thought he was hilarious. We'd mimic his raspy voice and his stories about talking to ghosts. One night, after a bonfire, the fog rolled in thick, and someone pointed at the cemetery. The lights were there. My best friend, Mark, dared me to follow them for $100. I was the bravest of the group, which mostly meant I was the most stupid. I said, make it 200, and he agreed. I walked into the cemetery alone. The green lights drifted ahead of me and led me to the far corner, where the newest graves were, relatively speaking. I found a headstone with no name, just a date of death and the words, "Beloved Mother." I knelt down and touched the cold stone. The lights gathered around me, then winked out. I ran back to my friends, empty-handed and spooked. Mark obviously didn't pay me, but I couldn't stop thinking about that grave. The next day, I went to the local library. The librarian said I'd need to look at old newspapers. I spent hours on a dusty machine. Eventually, I found a small article from the 1920s. The grave belonged to a young woman named Eleanor. She had died in a house fire trying to save her baby. The baby survived, but Eleanor didn't. Her family never put her name on the stone because they were ashamed she had been unmarried. Years later, I had a daughter of my own, a curious, fast-crawling little thing named Lily. One summer, we went camping near that same town. I was setting up the tent, fussing with poles and stakes, when I turned around, and she was gone. My heart stopped. I searched everywhere. The riverbank, picnic area, restroom, nothing. I called her name until my throat hurt. The sun was setting. Then I saw them. Green lights, flickering at the edge of the woods. I ran toward them, tripping over roots, branches scratching my arms. I followed for what felt like forever. Then I heard Lily giggling. She was sitting under a large oak tree, patting a patch of moss. She wasn't scared or hurt. She looked up at me and smiled. I scooped her up, crying, shaking. "Why did you run off?" She pointed towards the dark woods. The nice lady with the lantern showed me where the pretty moss was. I looked, and no one was there, but I felt a gentle warmth, like someone had just smiled and walked away. When we got back to the campsite, Mark, yes, the same Mark from high school, now an accountant, was roasting marshmallows. "Find her?" he asked. "The lanterns did." He rolled his eyes and said, "Not you too. Next you'll be wearing a foil hat like Old Man Hendricks." I threw a marshmallow at him. He caught it in his mouth. That night, I lay awake in the tent, listening to the crickets. I thought about Eleanor, a woman who died saving her own child, and then spent the next 100 years saving other people's children. I thought about Old Man Hendricks, who everyone thought was crazy, but probably saw the same lights I did. The next morning, we drove past the cemetery. I saw a small, fresh bouquet of wildflowers on the unmarked grave. No note, no name. I like to think someone else found the lanterns. She never got a proper headstone, but she got 100 years of gratitude, and that's a better memorial than any piece of carved stone.